don't talk to Roger no more. So I don't know. I won't
Since
talk
then?
to him. I talked to him. I heard his story, and I heard some of the stuff. And then after that, I learned a whole lot of stuff and about it and everything. Roger's wrong. He went against what I told him to do, and he hid the fact that he got roped into a pro wrestling store. Roger's not a pro wrestler.
If you are worried about his well-being, why are you not talking to him?
Because he dishonored my name.
Rampage Jackson has shared some shocking news about his relationship with his son after the Psycho Stews incident. While many fans were thinking Rampage would easily save his son from getting jailed, the former champ reveals he doesn't even talk to his son anymore.
He dishonored my name. And
But he's still your son.
No, listen. I know he's my fucking son. I'm not cutting him off for forever. I just haven't talked to him.
However, Rampage Jackson says people unfairly assume he's defending Raja after the pro wrestling incident, when in reality he's just as upset with his son as everyone else. He explains that the backlash has been intense, with many treating him like he was the one who did it. Rampage admits what Raja did was completely uncalled for and hurt a lot of people, but stresses that he had no part in it and isn't trying to cover for his son just because he is his father.
But what has life been like for you since that date?
It's been crazy, man. Like, people act like I fucking did it.
You're getting a lot of heat.
I'm getting a lot of heat. Like, I beat somebody's ass. What Roger did was uncalled for, and I know it affected a lot of people, but I didn't fucking do it. Like, cause he's my son and his father is a public figure, and they want to come after me. Like, and people automatically assume that I'm going to defend my son and I'm going to like try to pay people off and get them out of trouble. I'm just as mad as Roger as they are.
Rampage Jackson revealed that he hasn't spoken to his son since the incident and doesn't know how he's doing. He explained Raja disobeyed him by hiding his involvement in a pro wrestling match, something he shouldn't have done. Rampage emphasized that Raja is a fighter, not a wrestler, and had no business in the ring. While admitting his son went too far, he stressed Raja knew better, noting he had already grounded him from training for 2 weeks.
Heard or seen Raja since the incident. How is he doing?
I don't know. I don't talk to Roger no more, so I don't know.
Since then,
I talked to him. I heard his story, and I heard some of the stuff, and then after that, I learned a whole lot of stuff and about it and everything. Roger's wrong. He went against what I told him to do, and he hid the fact that he got roped into a pro wrestling store. Roger's not a pro wrestler. He's a fighter. He's not a pro wrestler. He had no business in that ring. Everybody there was wrong. And yes, my son took it too far, but he knows better. He knows he's wrong for getting involved in a pro wrestling match.
Meanwhile, Ariel Helwani said Raja Jackson will have to face consequences, whether through the legal system, the police, or elsewhere. He called the situation crazy, pointing out that Raja incriminated himself by filming the attack, announcing he would do it, and then justifying the actions afterward. Helwani emphasized that blaming an empty beer can doesn't excuse nearly killing someone.
He is going to have to face repercussions, whether it's via the court of law, whether it's via the police, whether it's via the streets. I don't fucking know. But that was crazy, man. You incriminated yourself. You filmed yourself beating the living daylights out of another man. And then you filmed yourself telling the world that you were going to do it. And then you filmed the aftermath of you justifying it. What? The empty beer can doesn't mean that you almost die. It doesn't work that way.
Ariel Helwani blasts Raja Jackson for keeping the stream on during the assault, saying he made a bad situation worse by bragging instead of stopping. He argues it was one reckless move after another, with Raja most to blame, followed by promoters who let him in the ring without making clear that wrestling is scripted. Ariel warns Raja is ruining his life without realizing it.
He pummeled a guy on a stream and then wasn't even smart enough to be like, yo, let's stop the stream. No, he keeps it going. I ain't no bitch. I ain't no bitch. I ain't no bitch. No one's gonna do that to me. He's taking phone calls about this. People are cutting promos on him. Stop the fucking stream, man. End it. What are you doing? You're ruining your life. Now, I don't know why there haven't been any charges pressed, but to me, I saw people doing all these types of breakdowns, This thing was pretty easy to digest and break down. It was one stupid action after the next. Now you can rank them. Raja's at the very top. The promoters who let him, after he got slammed with the can, who let him do that and didn't explain to him that, yo, what we do is not real, scripted, they're next.
On the other hand, Rampage Jackson also admits his son needs jail time, community service, anger management, and therapy to learn from his mistakes, but he denies it was attempted murder. He insists Raja had never intended to kill anyone and likely didn't even realize how badly he injured the wrestler at the time.
Raja, I think that he should do a little time, do a little community service, and go to anger management class, see some therapy.
But you know, that goes, like some people said it was attempted murder and things like that. That's not a little time.
It wasn't attempted murder because he wasn't trying to kill that guy.
How do you know?
Because that's my son. I know my son. Roger wasn't trying to kill nobody. He wasn't trying to kill that guy. Roger probably didn't even know how bad he hurt that guy. He wasn't trying to kill that guy.
Rampage Jackson argues that the entire situation is being blown out of proportion, with many people wrongly believing Raja snuck into the ring. He explains that his son was put in there as if he were a pro wrestler, even though he had no business being in that role, and blames the promoters for the decision. Rampage makes it clear that while mistakes were made, there was never any attempt at murder.
The problem is everything got blown out of proportion, and people thought that Roger snuck into the fucking ring and did that. That's what the problem is. Like, you know, at this point, Roger was in the act as a pro wrestler, but he ain't no pro wrestler. The promoters had no reason putting my son in that fucking ring. But it was no attempted murder.
Rampage Jackson further addressed the backlash from the Raja Jackson incident and asked people not to involve his other children. He admitted Raja made a mistake, but stressed his family had nothing to do with it. Rampage said he was done with the drama and wanted to focus on self-improvement, streaming, and spreading positivity. He explained he preferred making people laugh instead of letting negativity consume him, adding he would rather go to prison than see something worse happen to his loved ones.
Don't threaten me and my other kids, and we had nothing to do with none of that shit. Roger was he fucked up everything, so then I'm over the shit. You know what I'm focused on? I'm focusing on bettering myself and streaming for you guys and being a more positive person with more positive energy, because I like laughing when people laugh. So I'm not gonna let this stuff bother me, but I'd rather go to prison than go to the morgue or bury one of my kids.
Meanwhile, Brian Callen predicted that Raja Jackson would likely end up in jail, emphasizing that the incident was far more serious than just a fight. He explained that prosecutors could pursue charges ranging from attempted murder to aggravated assault with intent to cause serious harm, or even assault with a deadly weapon.
I think he's going to go to jail. You can't do that.
And how?
I'm sorry, but there's something very wrong.
What would the charges be against him?
Aggravated assault, attempted murder.
Yeah, attempted murder.
Aggravated assault.
Bring that up, Chin. What's he looking at?
With intent to cause egregious bodily harm. You can, but
you could say what charges.
A prosecutor.
What charge? Yeah, there you go.
A prosecutor can literally charge you with attempted murder here. Assault with a deadly weapon, all kinds of stuff.
Brandon Schwab questioned whether Rampage Jackson might pay $300,000 to have the charges dropped, noting it was a large amount but one Rampage could afford. Brian Callen responded by asking if covering the cost would truly teach Raja a lesson, though he admitted that if he were his own son, he would likely pay the money without thinking twice.
Is there a world where, it's Rampage's son, can Rampage go, listen, drop the charges and I'll give you $300,000? Because the guy's not, $300,000 is a lot of money.
Does Rampage have $300,000?
Yes.
That's a lot of money.
He's good. Yeah, Rampage is good. Yeah, he's good.
Well, I think...
Is there something in that world?
I think there is. I think Rampage... Obviously, look, the tragedy is Rampage loves his son.
Yeah, let me ask you this. Let's say your son did that, and you have the means to pay $300,000. What's your son learn if you bail him out? Does it teach your son a better lesson if he goes into the system? What do you do as a father?
I guess the answer is I don't know, right? But I will say this, since you're pressing me, I would have to really.
I know what you would do.
Yeah.
You would pay the $300,000, Brian.
100%.
Moreover, Greg Doucette shared his view on the situation, saying Raja Jackson has likely destroyed his career and could face an unknown amount of prison time. He explained that this is the result of someone finally snapping after being pushed too far, pointing to how constantly belittling and feeling overshadowed can build pressure until it explodes. In his perspective, growing up under Rampage Jackson's shadow, where even his own father mocked him, left Raja like a ticking time bomb that only needed the wrong push to go off.
And so Raja most likely has ended his career, will end up in prison for God knows how long. And so, in my opinion, this is an example of exactly what happens when kids, they lash out. And by kids, I mean adults who are only 25 years of age. Perhaps he's 26. I forget. When you keep on poking the bear, you keep on teasing someone, you keep on belittling them, putting them down, making them feel less than other people. Eventually, you can't handle it and you don't give two Turks about anything. And so, in my opinion, this was a ticking time bomb. Imagine, you're this kid. You have to live up to your dad's reputation. And all he does is make fun of you, put you down, calls you a bitch, pussy. Eventually, what do you think you're going to do when the wrong person pushes you the wrong way?
Greg Doucette went in harder on Raja Jackson, pointing out that the script only called for a single punch, yet Raja threw more than 20 on an unconscious Psycho Stu. He emphasized that once blood was pouring and there were no punches coming back, the fight was clearly over. Continuing beyond that moment, Greg said, turned it into criminal behavior and is exactly the kind of action that lands someone in jail.
So he gets up on top and he punches him. That was basically the script. And so at this point, I think there's nothing wrong with this. Hey, it was a script. I didn't notice he was unconscious, and so I hit him. Fine. What about the second punch? The third? The fourth? The 10th? The 20th? What about on number 27? When blood is pouring out of the person's head and he hasn't swung back a single time. Do you not think he would know if somebody is defenseless or not? And so I don't care if the guy deserved it or he didn't deserve it. I don't care about any of that stuff. When the person you're beating up is unconscious and can no longer defend themselves, the fight is over. And if you continue to beat that person up, that's when you're in the wrong and that's when you go to jail.
John Bradshaw Layfield also shows disappointment at Raja Jackson's actions, saying what happened went far beyond a fight. He makes it clear that all responsibility falls on Raja, while showing concern for Rampage Jackson, who got pulled into the fallout. Layfield stresses that striking someone who's already unconscious crosses the line of basic human decency.
Attempted murder. Yeah, there's no other way to describe it. And I'm gonna give you some caveats about what could have been done, but I want to make it very clear. This is 100% Raja Jackson's fault. 100%. The fault and the blame lies 100% with this man. I feel sorry for Rampage. He seems like a really good guy. His talking about his son had a concussion. We can talk about that in a minute. And that he never should have been there to put him in that situation, which is, I think, correct. But 100% of this blame goes on Raja. I mean, no matter what happens here, once this guy's out, the fight's over. If it is a fight, the guy didn't know he was in a fight. So forget about the fact that, the guy thought he was working and, he knocks him out. But at that point, it's just attempted murder. I mean, you're hitting, I don't care what happens. I don't care if you just happen in the back. A guy's down and out and you just keep punching him. There's no call for that.
Doug Mallow expressed outrage that no one intervened to protect Psycho Stu, revealing that he suffered broken facial bones, lost multiple teeth, and even choked on his own blood after the attack. Mallow explained that Stu was already unconscious from the initial slam before Raja continued striking, leaving him severely injured and incoherent. As a friend, Mallow admitted that he was shocked others stood by without helping and apologized to Stu for the failure of those who claimed to be his friends.
Yeah, so to get started with it, what actually happened to Stu? How bad are his injuries?
Broken facial bones is from what I'm hearing. Missing teeth. Has no recollection of what happened. Incoherent. And then even from the people closest to it now that I'm disassociating with, they won't even put up the full story. Stu's pretty fucked up. I'll put it this way. What happened yesterday is he choked on his own blood.
On his own teeth, I heard.
Yeah, teeth and blood.
And he lost all of his teeth? Right?
A lot of them, yeah. Broken facial bones. He was out on the slam, and then the guy had made contact multiple times. I remember seeing that, kind of being in shock, and then I just went. Side of that, running in, there was other people that could have got involved that I made eye contact with, but they just stayed by the stage. Let me put it this way. I'm sorry to Stu. that the people that said that they were your friends.
Doug Mallow reflected on being one of the few who stepped in to protect Psycho Stu, admitting he often thinks about what might have happened if he hadn't been there. He expressed gratitude that he carried that burden himself, noting that a 17-year-old teammate named Doom also tried to help. Mallow emphasized that he would have been devastated if the teenager had been seriously injured, saying even imagining that was unbearable.
I was reviewing the footage, and you were kind of like the only guy that stepped up and went in there and handled the situation. I mean, at least it shows you, right? Like, you intervening when you did, it did so much. Like, in your head, do you ever think about, oh man, like, luckily I was there? Like, in your head, do you think, man, imagine if I wasn't? Because if you weren't there, you didn't intervene when you did, I'd hate to think what would have happened, right?
Yeah, I do think that, and I am grateful that it was me of all people. Not only to eat the burden, but also I think about with the kid Doom, the first one with the makeup that tried to pull him off.
Yeah,
he's 17. He's a baby, right? And I would have been so devastated if he had gotten hurt too. That would have been, I would have been inconsolable.
Doug Mallow also criticized Roger Jackson, calling his actions a result of a stupid mentality. He recounted trying to break up the fight when Raja went for a sloppy double leg and punched him in the eye, even though Malone hadn't been aggressive. He labeled Raja a young loser and a low-life clown for attacking a half-conscious man and striking someone who was only trying to stop the fight, noting that Jackson was fortunate to be already exhausted from his earlier match.
When we're in the ring and I'm breaking it up and he shoots a double leg on me, by the way, work a better double leg, you prick. And then I'm telling you to calm down. I'm not even fighting. I'm not even being hostile. Then you're trying to work and get lower, do this, change positions, and I'm over here having to swim with you, all this other shit. And then you punch me in the eye after we're breaking it up, you loser. That's why you got headbutt, and that's why I punch you, and you're lucky I was tired from the match before this. What kind of person are you? You low-life clown. You want clout, so you beat up a guy that's half unconscious. You punch a guy that's trying to break up a fight and not even trying to fight you. I wasn't even trying to hurt you.
Matt Brown also criticized Roger Jackson's actions, calling them a clear felony and saying aggravated assault and battery were inevitable. He described the attack as a shit move, arguing that Raja should have fought fairly instead of blindsiding someone. Brown noted that the pro wrestler was set up for a stage spot when Raja slammed him on the head and added that the victim was fortunate to only require a hospital stay given the severity of the situation.
Aggravated assault's for sure, battery, like, this is a felony for sure, right? I mean, there's I don't think there's any way out of that. So, kind of just is what it is for him now. But like what a shitty move, man. Like, you want to fight the guy. Like, dude was like, we watched the video right before the podcast here. And, the dude was like preparing for a pro wrestling style takedown, and motherfucker slammed him on his head. Like, dude's lucky that, like you said, he's hospitalized, but man, he's lucky that that's all that happened,
Dylan Dennis weighed in on the Roger Jackson incident, calling it reckless and unnecessary. He explained that pro wrestling relies on trust, where moves like slams are meant to be safe. In this case, he felt that trust was broken, as Roger turned it into something dangerous. Dennis added that the punches that followed seemed intended to hurt rather than perform, calling the situation disappointing and saying it cast wrestling in a negative light.
What's your take on this Raja Jackson video that came out? Because it seems like that's caught kind of not just the MMA and wrestling world, but like everyone is caught.
To be honest, it's hard to watch, but in a way, it's like he might have something like wrong with, like, maybe like anger problems, because like, why would he do that, And anybody that has trained or anybody has a brain knows when someone's working or someone's like, and like, that would be like me going with you right now and you're like, oh, I'm gonna pick you up and we're working, we're doing a WWE match. Like, you could slam me in my head, like, I'm giving you my weight, you know what I mean? So like, the guy obviously let him pick him up, and then slamming him like that is ridiculous, first off, especially being a guy that's trained. I know he's only 0-1, but like, slamming the guy like that, first off, is ridiculous. Like, any person in WWE can do that to each other.
Dylan Dennis said the situation would have been different if Raja Jackson had made it clear he wanted a real fight. Instead, trust was broken when Raja turned a controlled move into something dangerous. Dennis called it sad, suggested Raja might have PTSD, and noted that in wrestling you're expected to protect someone, not slam them recklessly.
And if he said, hey, come in here, I'm a fucking kid, like, fuck you, like, I like really want to fight you, you know, and then, yeah, beat the shit out of the fucking guy, but it didn't seem like that. Like, he did the prop can, he's saying that, but then he apologized, and like, is this kid, I mean, I don't know.
Dude had like PTSD. It was like
oh, so sad. It's so sad. I was actually gonna offer to help him like with money and maybe training. Like, and then he shot on the other guy. He couldn't threw the other guy down. He was like, so it's like the guy was letting you work with his body. Like, you know, when you're training and even you pick someone up and sparring, you're not gonna slam the guy on his head. Like, that's basically what they're doing in pro wrestling. You know what I mean? Someone's letting you pick them up, but you're not gonna do that. But
so that's a wrap for today's video. We hope you found it informative. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more interesting content.